Wow, lots going on. We just got a flood of information on the forums. The devs are doing this Q&A, and I definitely recommend going through and perusing through this, finding the questions that are the most interesting to you. I've got a link down below in the description to this Q&A. I've got 4 questions that I wanted to talk about today. The most important that I'll hit on right away that I have just a lot of opinions on is we are increasing the gear cap to gear 13, and that is coming with the Geonosis territory battle. You can see here in this question behind me, will there be a level cap increase or gear 13 coming with the new Geonosian territory battle? It's from Anakin1125 asking the important relevant questions. And then we get a response from CG, gear 12 finishers. So you can get your characters to gear 13 will be coming with Geonosian territory battles, but there's no level cap increase. All right. So, I mean, first of all, good thing we're not getting a level cap increase. We already have a credit crunch going on right now for a lot of people. But I just gotta say, when I was streaming, a lot of you were there, and this announcement dropped that we were getting gear 13, and my heart just immediately sank. Now, it's not like I'm opposed to gear 13 itself, as much as I just feel like the gear 12 plus pieces are so hard to come by already for the average person. I definitely view myself as an above average player when it comes to commitment level. I'm playing very aggressively. But the one thing that I just can't wrap my mind around being consistent at the top end is finishing top 10 in the heroic Sith raid. I mean, who is finishing top 10 consistently? For those of you that are, congratulations, that's great. But your ability to finish in the top 10 dramatically changes based on the kind of guild you're in. And so if you're in a guild that's just barely finishing the heroic Sith raid, gonna be a lot easier to finish in the top 10. If you're in a guild that's super endgame, super competitive, top of the leaderboards kind of guild, forget about finishing in the top 10 and getting those gear 12 plus pieces. To put this in perspective, I mean, my guild, we're top 50 guild in a lot of senses, especially in territory wars. If I want to finish in the top 10, I've got to be finishing with over 25 million damage easy in the Sith raid. Now, don't get me wrong, maybe I could pony up and get there, but that is a ton of damage to commit to, whereas a lot of other guilds, 10 million damage might be the threshold for hitting that, which you can do pretty easily with 1 or 2 focused battles. I just don't get that there would be incentive in the game to join a not prestigious guild, because as it stands right now, it's with the gear 13, I feel like I might need to leave my current guild so that I can go be the top guy in another guild so I can have a better chance at gear 12 plus. I am decentivized right now to progress in the game because being in a more competitive guild means that it is harder for me to get the resources I need. Don't worry guys, I'm not leaving. I'm gonna stay in my guild. Which, by the way, I have proposed a different system of raid rewards where you actually tier the rewards based on how much damage you get to, so the reward effort is even across all guilds. That gets rid of incentive to leave guilds when you're the most competitive and do murking and all of that. That would equalize the incentive to participate in raids, not just limited to top 10 for whatever guild you're in, and not be added incentive to stay in a lesser guild and not progress to another guild. But I digress. And so for me, while I'm not super stoked about gear 13, it might not upset me that much if I didn't already feel so frustrated about my inability to get to gear 12 plus pieces. I've personally been farming Darth Revan and looking for this last gear 12 plus piece forever, and I still do not have it. And so literally for me, the only option for the kind of guild that I am in is to shell out $50 or whatever it is for crystals to just buy the piece with the crystals, which to me, absolutely not worth it. So I think I speak for the common man in this. I know a lot of you are in my same boat where it's just super discouraging. Again, not so much that there's more farming to do, but because it's already almost impossible to get that gear 12 plus gear. And then you're gonna add on the fact that it's already an incredible crunch just to get to gear 12 as it stands right now. And so we're gonna increase that amount of time, set the goalpost even further every time a new character character comes to the game, it's that much longer until they're usable. So, not a fan of this. I'm not a fan of Gear 13 at all. I think right now the community morale is pretty low, and I don't think this is what we needed right now, to be honest. I think this is pushing a lot of people over the edge. Put me on the list. Chalk me up with the pissed, okay? So, something that definitely needs to happen with this, before I move on to other questions, is I'm really hoping, CG, that you make that Gear 12 Plus a little more available, because if the only route is just going to be Sith Raid right now, as it is right now, or shelling out $50, because you can't buy in increments, by the way, it's like all or nothing, then we're gonna have a big problem here. So hopefully there's gonna be more availability for those pieces. If there is, and they've already answered, I haven't been able to read this entire Q&A. Let me know if they commented on that down in the comments below. And then there are a couple other interesting things that were brought up on this. We had this question here, are there any plans about adding mods to ships? We had that confirmed. We're not going to have mods added to ships, but we do have this crazy idea of releasing a crewless ship. And so that all but confirms that we're going to have separatist ships in here, droid-operated ships of some sort. I think there's a lot of speculation that go into there. That's interesting for all you ship lovers. And then we got another question that comes up quite a bit. Will you consider revisiting the rewards from challenges, adding newer high-demand gear, or upping the raid or the reward output? Which I don't know. It's only been like 3 freaking years since you've updated it. Okay, they've updated it probably sooner than that. But the answer is basically no. We're not going to be changing this. We have been looking into challenge rewards as the game gets older, looking at you, Mace, but we don't have any plans of changing the rewards anytime soon. I feel like this is the theme of this Q&A, by the way. A lot of the stuff that was asked in here, the response is, we've been looking into that. Oh, great, you've been looking into it. I'm so excited. No, we're not doing anything about it. We're just looking at it. I don't care if you're looking at it. Get something done. Do something. I don't, to me, it's just like, you're looking into it, but we're not going to do anything at this time. All right, that basically says no, we're not doing anything. So are you looking into it? And then one last interesting piece that I thought was actually pretty worth noting, because a lot of people are concerned about the health of this game right now. I know I myself, I'm not super stoked about where the game's at right now, and this Gear 13 thing definitely not helping my mood. But I don't necessarily think that Galaxy of Heroes is in its last days by any stretch, and CG Carey talks about this. The question's asked about the longevity of the game, and she says, John Solera, our group GM, talks about this game having the potential to live as long as the Star Wars franchise has until now. So we used to say 37 years. Wow. But then she levels a little bit. She says, I talked about a 5-year roadmap in the road ahead, but I've done a version that goes to 10. When you think about the kinds of gameplay mechanics, the stories to tell, and the abilities for all players to socialize, or for the players to socialize more directly in the game, not just in Discord, there are a ton of things that we want to do. It does take a lot to maintain the game, while we add new content, though, so we have to be cautious. And so I actually really like this answer. I think it's very honest. Obviously, she'd love the game to go 5-10 years from now. That's job stability, and so I would love it to go that long as well, too. I think that I hope that CG is taking notes, looking at a lot of things that are going right now. I think a lot of the community kind of shares a sentiment about the current direction of the game, and I'd love to see a few things change. They do talk in this next question a little bit about moving towards kind of an esports thing where you have more competitive matches. She kind of alludes to live PvP in this response here. Stuff like that could definitely be really needed and awesome. So I hope whatever comes down the pipeline, we can see an improvement, because morale is a bit low right now. I think Gear 13 is definitely not helping. At least it's definitely not helping me. But I could be totally off base, my friends. Let me know what your thoughts are down in the comments below. How do you feel about Gear 13 coming? Are you okay with it? Have you had no problem getting that Gear 12 Plus? If so, we're all very jealous of you. Thanks again for joining me for the video, my friends, and as always, my brothers, don't forget
my dead body. Sorry about the mess.